And this young boy was called? Joseph. This young boy was called? Joseph. From which book? From which book? Yesterday. Which was? Yesterday. Yes? Yes? What was the topic? What was the topic? The girl who became a queen. What was the memory verse? From which book? Esther? Esther? Aya. Now, today we are going to day 5. Say day 5. Day 5. We have our theme, which is prayer in times of crisis. Can you repeat? Say prayer in times of crisis. Prayer in times of crisis. Prayer in times of crisis. Now stop writing. Don't write today. Don't write. Don't write, please. Say prayer in times of crisis. Then we have the topic, Daniel. Then we have the boy who stood firm by a purpose true. Say a boy. Say the boy. The boy who stood firm by a purpose true. From which book? Say from Daniel chapter 1. From Daniel chapter 1. From Daniel chapter 1. From 1. Daniel chapter 1 verse 1 to 21. And another book is James 4:7. Another book is? You are not talking that side. Another book is James 4:7. Can we get the story now? Now look at me. Don't write. Don't write. Please don't write. Look at me. We have our memory verse first before we start the story. Our memory verse is coming from the book of Daniel, book of Psalms 55 verse 22. Which book? Psalms 55. Say Psalms 55. Verses 22. And it says, cast your cares on the Lord. 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 Can you talk? You know you are disappointing me and we are being taken in the camera. Just talk. Cast your cares on the Lord. He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. Now we are starting our story of today. Today we are going to talk about the boy called a man. A man, not a boy, a man. A man called Daniel. A man called Daniel. And we are going to see how Daniel managed it in the time of crisis. In the time of crisis. In the time of crisis. And what is a crisis? Who can guess what is a crisis? If I talk about the word crisis, who can guess? Who can guess the word crisis? The word crisis means difficulty. The word crisis means difficulty. In times of difficulty. we are going to see how Daniel managed himself in times of difficulty. So, we know the story of Daniel. In a land called Babylon, there lived a king. We were told the name of the king when we were there. What was the name of that king? The king of Babylon. The king, yes. King? Another king? Huh? We had Darius, we had Nebuchadnezzar, then we have who again? Huh? Belshazzar. Aya, now, let's see what happened to these three and what happened to Daniel. So one day, there was order from the king, but we know the man called Daniel, he was a man of God. He was a man of, and Daniel liked to pray. The favorite theme of Daniel was praying and fasting. Was praying and Daniel used to pray all the time. The first thing Daniel can do is to pray. So the Babylonian captured the Israelites and took them as slaves. So the story goes like this. Daniel was found to be wise, that the king of Babylon made him into a powerful rule. So this man called Daniel, was made to rule over the Babylon. And we are told that the king liked Daniel so much because Daniel was good. And the character that Daniel has was a good character. Who can tell me